المتحدث الثالث لهذا اليوم الأستاذة هبة سيد، مدير التسويق في IBM الشرق الأوسط وشمال وأفريقيا. راح تتكلم عن إطلاق العنان لقدراتكم التسويقية عبر الاستفادة من قدرات الذكاء الاصطناعي.
So you'll see me here more often, so with my fellow ladies. Hi everyone, my name is Heba Sayed. I lead marketing for a function in IBM called What's in Customer Engagement. I'm here today to talk to you about how AI is going to change the world of marketing and advertising in the next few years. So we heard a little bit about it in the morning, how AI, emerging technologies, virtual reality, is going to change that world, but the depth of it and exploring how much it is going to change our function and our profession is going to be huge. So at IBM, we believe that the world is going to change in the next 5 years more than it changed in the last 20. So think about everything that was invented in the last 20 years and then accelerate this 4 times. Even more innovation will come up, even more inventions are going to come that are going to change the way we work. And if we think of roles that were transformed by technology in the last few years, we will think of so many. Of course, technology changed the world of IT. If you are an IT manager, the way you do your work, the way you are empowered in the organization with the technology that you own is different. But no function has been transformed by technology, such as marketers, advertisers, and those working in the media industry. It took my attention during the last year, this year actually 2017, a lot of pieces of news about how the role of the marketing has transformed on a global level as well as a local level. I started reading articles in leading publications, Harvard Business Review, Forbes, and even local ones like Gulf Marketing Review, all talking about how the role of CMO is transforming. One of the pieces of news that stopped me last year is how Coca-Cola, one of the biggest schools in the world of marketing, in the world of media, no longer has a CMO role. They have moved the CMO function, they have completely changed the way their organization works, and they split the role into Chief Innovation Officer and Chief Growth Officer. So again, our function, if you're a marketer in the media industry, if you're an agency, we're still all related to this big change, and we're seeing a lot of change, and we're forecasting a lot of change, and we're part of that change. Fact is, big study, again, global study that was done last year, 80% of CEOs do not trust their CMOs. This is a serious, serious statistic. In the same study about CFOs and CTOs, only 10% of them were not trusted by the CEO. So again, a big trouble where the CMO role, a big trouble where the marketing professionals are in terms of how they showcase their value, how they contribute to their business, how they grow their economy in their companies and in their economies as well. Fact is, to CMO's credit, again, our function has changed a lot, and it's not easy at all to be in that field. It's not easy to be a marketer. It's not easy to be an agency. A lot was discussed about this today. The whole world is in social media, explosion in the amount of data. Just today I read a statistic that 90% of all the data in the world was created in the last 12 months. Again, data explosion, so many changes to the consumer, the way they interact with the brands, the way they like to buy, the way millennials are changing, and Gen Z as well coming to the stage and changing the way they interact. Actually, here in one of the statistics, you'll see that 1/4 of the world population is in social media. Again, in Saudi Arabia, that is even more. It's more than 50% of the population that's an active user of social media. So that fact remains. But the real problem is not that we have too much data. The real problem is that it's dark. When we were all young, many of us, I would say some of us were very brave, but we're afraid of the dark. Now we grow up, we become marketers, we become advertisers, we work in the media industry, but we're also afraid of the dark. But in that case, it's these dark three things: dark social, dark data, and dark marketing technology. What do I mean by dark data, dark social, and dark marketing technology? If you want to summarize this into one word, it's called dark marketing. So again, a lot of discussions about social media, explosion in the number of users, explosion in the conversation. We just heard Twitter, how all these conversations are growing and how the number of users and the users and different types of users, integrating video, integrating GIFs and all these trends. But fact remains, more than 50% of social media interactions are happening in platforms that are not tracked by marketers. That means the private social media. That means when you send a Facebook message to your friend. That means when you send a WhatsApp or an Instagram or even an email. A lot of the content, even more than 50% of the content that is being consumed by brands and is being shared, is also being shared on these dark social media. Think you see an ad, for example, that's something I do myself. If I see an ad or I see a promotion, I don't share it on my Facebook. I take the link and I open a message in Facebook Messenger or in WhatsApp and I send it to my friends or I send it to my husband or I send it to my mother or things of that sort. So I don't share it openly on my social media. The brand has no way to know that I'm interacting with their content, that I'm sharing their content, that either I'm advocating, I'm saying positive things, or I'm saying negative things. And this trend is going to increase. People are less and less interested in sharing more on social media. The growth of dark social will continue to evolve. The second one is dark data. So we talked about data, explosion of data. But the fact is, again, 80% of the data that's in the world today is unstructured data. That means picture that you took and posted. That means voice search. There was a discussion about voice search and voice browsing today. And fact is, by 2020, 60 or 70% of all the searches that are going to happen via voice. So how, as a marketer, how, as someone in the media industry, you're going to track that someone is trying to search for, a new car, or that someone is looking for a vacation spot. They want to go on vacation, and they're looking for the best place to go on vacation. How, as a marketer or a person working in the media industry, you're going to make use of all this dark data that exists, but you are unable to track it, you're unable to put it in one place and make some useful insights out of it. The third piece of dark data or dark marketing that is a big question mark, and I hear a lot of discussions about it even today as well, is dark martech, dark marketing technology. So that picture here, I apologize if it's not clear, but this is the evolution of the marketing technology landscape. This is a study that is being issued every year that shows a whole landscape of marketing technology, from content management, digital experience, personalization, marketing automation, and you can see a huge growth. In 2011, there were 150 companies that were charted on that. That has grown in 2017 to 5,000 companies. And when we work with a lot of the marketers, we see that they have different pieces of marketing technology. They have different platforms. Their customer data is sitting somewhere. Their social media listening is sitting somewhere. Their CRM is in a different place. And they're trying to put all the pieces together. They're trying to make the systems talk to each other so that, again, they have this bigger picture of their customers. And this continues to be one of the biggest struggles that marketers and advertisers are going to have. So if you were to think of marketers who are going to really lead the new era of marketing, they're going to be marketers who are going to be able to overcome these three challenges. They're going to be able to understand what's happening in the dark social, make sense of the dark data, and integrate their marketing technology to have one unified view of their customer and one way they're interacting with their consumers. And that is, again, not very easy to use. Making the case for AI in marketing. I hear a lot of discussions today about, oh, this needs to be done by a human. Oh, no, this can be done by a machine. So where is the line? Where do machines or machine learning or artificial intelligence come into play? And where does the human interaction and the human capabilities come into play? IBM has a very unique point of view on that. IBM was one of the first companies to invest in artificial intelligence back in 2011, where artificial intelligence was not a thing. IBM launched IBM Watson, the engine for artificial intelligence, and since then, $5 billion of investment and 6 years of research and development has gone into developing IBM Watson to make it a strong engine that is capable of supporting humans in many decisions, in many industries, and across many professions. A lot of people, again, ask some of the basics. What is artificial intelligence? Is it predictive analytics? Or is it natural language processing? Or is it image recognition? Or is it the ability to understand unstructured data? It's actually all of that put together. I find a very simple way to describe artificial intelligence in 4 key areas. It needs to be able to understand, reason, learn, and interact. If any platform out there is not doing any of these 4 things, it is not artificial intelligence. It's either analytics or predictive analytics or a quite smart chatbot, but not real artificial intelligence. The example that I use to simplify this is, think of a small child. Think of a child, and again, the way humans think. Artificial intelligence is meant to mimic the way humans think. If you think of a child who sees a candle, the child touches the candle one time, his hand gets burned. If he comes across that candle again, most probably he's not going to touch it. What happened there? What happened is a process of understanding. Understanding is, if I touch the candle, my hands will get burned. Now coming to reasoning. Reasoning is understanding the reason why something happened. So if the child gets older, he's able to understand, my hands has neurons, and it has skin, and it's attached to my brain, so if I touch the candle, it gets hurt, it sends signal to my brain, I feel pain. That is reasoning. So artificial intelligence is able to tell you not only that if this happened, that happens, but why it's going to happen. What is the reason that makes that happen? And again, learning. If situation changes, 1 + 1 = 2, 1 + 1 = 2, that's predictive intelligence. It can tell if this happened and that happened, this will happen. But what if that situation changed? That system needs to be able to learn on its own, not you to come back and tell it, oh, you know what, it didn't work out the last time. The next time something happens, this is how you act. The systems need to be able to learn. And this is, again, one of the unique capabilities of human learning that only artificial intelligence is trying to mimic. It's not even there yet. It's trying to mimic. The last is interact. So we hear a lot about natural language, being able to talk to a chatbot and it hears what we are saying, image recognition, voice recognition, being able to understand if it sees a picture, tagging what's in that picture, understanding if there are people, if it's a site, what are the people in the picture doing, what kind of actions are they taking, and all these things. This is part of the interaction. Again, being able to describe all the understanding, reasoning, and learning that happened. And that pretty much sums up artificial intelligence. Now, putting Watson in marketing. So IBM, again, has been using artificial intelligence, has been offering a lot of solutions for marketers and advertising professionals that put the power of AI in the hands of the marketer. And again, this is not replacing marketers. It's not about, oh, my job cannot be done by a machine, or this part of my job I need to do, but that part the machine needs to do. The way that we view artificial intelligence is an intelligent personal assistant. And actually, this is one of the solutions that we launched, which is called Marketing Assistant. So it's basically advising marketers what is going to work, what is the best campaign, what is the best target audience, what is the best image that they use, what is the best platform to reach the customer, what is the best time to reach them, and the decisions are done by the marketer to go with these recommendations or go with other recommendations. So again, putting all this in the hands of the marketers, being able to interact in natural language. We have chatbots that are powered by IBM Watson. If you're interested in the chatbot technology and you want to deploy it on your website, to do that is powered by IBM Watson. The learning, being able to analyze large amounts of data, come up with hypotheses, test them, and make sure if they're working or not. In summary, if I'm going to summarize how AI is going to help marketers in the future, or actually it's starting now, as we see a lot of uses in the region, including in Saudi Arabia, for AI in marketing. If you want to simplify it into 3 key areas, it's discovering the opportunity in all the data. And again, we talked about dark data, how important it is. Making real-time decisions. It was interesting today to hear General Motors talk about the purchasing cycle of a car. And again, it's one of the longest purchase cycles. But again, what if your car breaks down today? Do you have the ability as a marketer to know that this person's car broke down and they're looking for a car to buy tomorrow because they need to go to work, or they need to go to an important meeting, or they need to drop their family, or they're going on vacation. Making real-time decisions is something humans alone cannot do. We cannot understand what consumers are happening. If they're not following the normal funnel, they're not following the normal cycle, the sales cycle is getting too long or getting too short, the importance of making real-time decisions will need to be assisted by artificial intelligence. And last but not least, absolutely important, optimizing paid media. Again, a lot of discussions today about creatives. Which creative is going to work? Which target audience? And AI is going to play a big role in that. I'll delve a little bit into some details on these. And then again, there are so many use cases that we can discuss later. So discovering the opportunity in all data. One of the very interesting uses that we have is Iraq Bank, Ras Al Khaimah Bank in UAE, and how they're using artificial intelligence to understand their audience in a way that was not possible before. They are able to understand consumer next best action, what they want to do, what offer to promote to which customer at what point in time, what platform they best interact with, and by that they were able to see a lot of good results in terms of increasing the click-through rates, because again, the offers are becoming more relevant, the timing and the targeting is becoming more, a whole lot smarter, and again, they're increasing the wallet of share of their consumer. Second is making real-time decisions. One of the very interesting uses of that is automating next actions. One of the banks is using this feature. For example, one of their customers is walking into a store. They want to buy something. They go to the cashier. They run their credit card. The credit card is declined due to reaching the limit. What one of the banks did is automating the cycle so that if this happens to any of their consumers, especially the important ones, they receive an immediate phone call from the call center of the bank offering them to increase the limit on their card, free of charge, on the immediate. So immediately they can do the transaction. And something like that needs to be detected. And think about all the omni-channel that we're doing. We talked a lot about what's happening in the store, that it's not one customer journey, that's not everything in digital. How can you as a marketer or someone who's working, trying to increase the reach of your brand, detect that someone is standing in a store trying to buy something and not able to, and offer them this immediate experience, immediate positive experience with your brand, unless you have AI or machine learning trying to power that back engine and automating that cycle. Last but not least, optimize paid media. Very big topic. The use of programmatic is proliferating in the region. It's starting to come. We're starting to see it. And AI is one of the engines that is going to support programmatic marketing as well as regular marketing. If we think about media in terms of what is media? Media is what platform am I using, which creative I'm using, which message I'm using, with which consumers. Again, AI can help with all these four elements. AI can tell you what is the best platform to reach a customer. For example, sometimes myself, back in Dubai, I don't know how it's like here, I'm always spammed by offers. And I'm spammed by offers from banks, car companies, hotels, and they usually do 4 or 3 things at the same time. They send me a text message, they send me an email, and they have someone calling me from the call center giving me the same offer. Whenever someone calls me, I tell them, just send me an email, I'll read it later because this is my preferred way of communication. If you think about this as a brand and being able to reach your customer the way that makes them comfortable, first of all, if you're spamming your customer, you're trying to reach out to them in different ways to try to get that deal done, you are making them reluctant to give their information to you. You're making them, driving them to maybe unsubscribing from your mailers or asking your call center not to call them again. But if you know that Heba better responds to email, when someone sends me an email, I'm more likely to read it. I'm more likely to open the link. I'm more likely to fill up the form or do whatever it is that they ask me to do. You're most probably going to send me only an email. Not only are you going to have a satisfied customer, but you're going to have higher conversion and you're going to save the costs from the text message that is not going to be read, your call center agent who's wasting his time calling a customer who doesn't like being called. So artificial intelligence, again, has a way to identify what is the best platform to reach every customer. And it's not segment-based. It's individual, based on their history and based on their transaction with your brand. What is the best time to reach them as well? Some people like to check their emails in the morning. Some people are more likely to take up offers if you call them on the weekends. Some people get upset if you call them in the weekends. So what is the best time to reach any customer? Whether it's on paid media, is by showing them a web banner or sending them an email. Again, artificial intelligence can tell you what is the best time to reach each of your customers as individual, not as segment. What is the best creative? I heard that discussion today as well. You know, you want to do a promotion and then you have so many pictures. Which one can I use? Which one is best? AI has a way to tell and test, and even test sentiment to some of the images or some of the titles of the emails that you're sending, and it can tell you if this subject has a positive sentiment or it has a negative sentiment based on each consumer and how they like to interact. So it's not about complicating things, it's about simplifying things. It's about how AI is going to change the way marketers do their job. Not only in the initial phase of how to reach a customer, but all throughout the customer journey, how you're keeping the customer engaged with your brand and how you're increasing the loyalty and the wallet share of your customers. Last but not least, I wanted to share a very interesting study that IBM has recently launched. It's the CMO study. Called Redefining Markets, CMO Point of View. This is a global study, so IBM face-to-face interviews thousands of CMOs in different industries, in different regions, and it comes up with very interesting statistics. One that caught my attention the most as I was preparing for this presentation is how CMOs are broken into torchbearers and followers. Torchbearers are the ones who are leading the industries, leading their professions, and it was found out that 74% of them are more likely to take risks, experiment, change completely the way that they're doing things, as opposed to followers who try to do some small changes here and there and hoping that they will see some result without taking big risks. So I think the message to all of us here, myself included being a marketer, is to be the torchbearer that our profession needs, to be the torchbearer that our industries and economies need, and doing the changes, doing the big fundamental changes in the way that we do our business that is needed to change how the world works. I advise you to read the study. If you want to Google it, it's very easy to reach it. It's very easy read, and again, it has a lot of statistics and is very visual. It will give you an idea of the leading CMOs and how they're changing the way they lead organizations. And again, a link here for more information. The future of marketing starts here, and the future of marketing starts now, and it starts with us. Thank you very much. Happy to. Questions? Yeah.
For example, what the best time to open his email, or which pictures are will touch point with the customer? You know, it's a little bit human touch.
So the thing about AI, as we said, is that it learns. So it will not come from day one. If you deploy an AI system, it will not come from day one. It will tell you this particular customer is going to open this email at 5 p.m. It learns with time. So when you've sent 3 or 4 or 5 emails, it will determine a pattern of that person. You know, most likely, you know, you send them 5 emails and they only open the one that you sent in the weekend. And this is what we recommend that you do. Or you send them 5 pictures and here's the one that they interacted with the most. So we recommend this kind of imagery. Or you send them this offer and this is what they like to do. Or that platform, as we said, you send them a text message, an email, and you call them, and every single time, or 90% of the time, they responded to the email, or they responded to the text message, or they interacted with the call center. So this is the way that you should do it. So it's a pattern, and again, that's why we said AI is about learning. It's not going to come in from day one and, you know, transform the way, but you need to start deploying it, and you start to test, and again, it auto-corrects itself. So if the customer changes, because again, we all change, you know, maybe I'm working now, so that's why I only check my email in the weekend, but then maybe I will not be working, and then I can check my email during the workday. So because as we change, it will again learn and auto-correct itself. So this is the way that it works mainly. Any more questions? Any from the ladies? Yeah. Yeah.
So with the amount of data that Watson's able to aggregate in real time, what sort of real-time decision making is being done, and how are you guys working with agencies with that?
So very good question. Again, that's why I keep talking about agencies and advertisers as well. So we do have an agency program where we work with agencies. Some agencies prefer to have the capability at their end, and they run everything for the customer from their end, and that's how they get the learning and they get the information and the insight. And some agencies, just introduce us to their customers, and we work together to put something together, and they make some money out of that as well in the process. So we're actually, yes, as you said, we're also working with agencies because in this region, I mean, all around the world, but particularly in this region, we think agencies are the ones who are going to be able to really change the mentality of the customers of how they're being more data-driven and understanding of that. So if you're an agency, let's get in touch and let's see how you can do that. Any more? That's it. Thank you very much.